All right, everybody. So I am back on location here. To be truthful, I didn't really plan on ever filming videos outside of the office. Typically, when I write, it's pretty much almost always in the office. Even when I was doing the write every day, it was pretty rare that you saw me not there. For me, it's not that I'm against writing in public or in that atmosphere or whatever. It's more about trying to control variables. And so I've had plenty of good sessions that I've written outside of my office, right? I've had plenty of good sessions where I've been at the cafes or what have you, and plenty of decent prose has been written. But one of the things that I think people need to realize about the creative process is that you want to try to limit as many variables as possible. If I went up to the average person and I asked them, on the days when you creatively are on fire, right? The days when you're writing your best work, what are you eating that day? How much sleep did you get the night before? What was your routine that day? Did you just wake up and start writing? Did you have something specific for breakfast? What did you eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner? What was your routine? How long did you write for? What did you do to prep beforehand? What do you do to kind of unwind afterwards? They don't know. Most people simply don't know or don't pay attention to those sort of things. To a lot of people, a good session is kind of a mystery. I talk a lot about how sort of the muse striking is a bit like fishing, where your job is to show up at the watering hole, show up at the pond, the river, whatever, every day, and to cast your line. And maybe you'll catch the fish, maybe you won't. But catching the fish is irrelevant in the sense that your job is simply to show up and to cast that line. You are to show up at the keyboard and start writing. And if the muse strikes, the muse strikes. And this way of thinking is good. It can be very beneficial, but it does leave this sort of, it leaves this sort of like very nebulous kind of mystery to it, right? There's this very sort of kind of magical thinking around the idea of a good day of writing. It's treated very much like, well, maybe it happens, maybe it won't. It's treated like luck, like chance. And for me, I think there's a bit more to it than that. I don't think a good session is simply chance. I don't think it just happens to click. For me, I think if you can isolate variables and try to match, if you can pay attention to when you have a good day and what you ate for breakfast, what you had for lunch, how much sleep you got, what your routine was, if you can try and mimic that, I think the odds of having another good session go up. I really do. I think if you can control variables, you're increasing the likelihood of it happening. I don't think this is just luck. I don't think it's just, I showed up today and the muse struck. It's a lovely thought. It's a poetic thought. And if you're creative, you're a writer, you're prone to thinking like that. You are prone to thinking in those terms, to think like how I'm explaining it in this very sort of like scientific sense, right? This very sort of logical sense. That seems very antithetical to it. It seems like I'm demystifying this beautiful thing that is the muse. But I think you control variables. I think you can try and isolate things as best as possible and try to replicate them. I think your odds will go up if you do that. And so for me, writing in my office is simply a means of controlling variables. It's quiet. I'm there. I can more or less control the time and the environment. I have my exact keyboard laid out. I have my computer desktop set up exactly how I like it, etc. It's a very controlling sort of thing. But again, the more elements that I control, I think the better chance I have for my creative vision to come forward. The better chance I have of having a good writing day. Perhaps I'm wrong, and maybe the muse is this sort of nefarious thing. Maybe it's just simply your brain happens to work today. Maybe your brain's just clicking today for some reason. But think about it. Think about things that you can control. Really look at your best days of writing and see what you were doing that day. What were you try and dissect as best as possible what you were doing that day. And again, get down to just, all right, again, sleep, water. Did you have any kind of stimulants, caffeine, what have you? Did you, what did you eat? Did you have, a breakfast? What was that breakfast? What was that lunch? What was that dinner? What did you do before the day before to kind of unwind, right? Were you doing a lot of reading maybe the night before to stimulate your brain? Were you watching television instead? What did you do after that session? Did you kind of unwind? What have you? And then again, I understand that for a lot of us, we get our writing in whenever we can, right? Today is a good example. I got my writing in. I was very, very busy, and I simply got my writing in on a lunch break because I didn't have time this evening basically to get it done. So I understand this is coming from kind of the mind of like, a person that maybe has resources, or maybe someone that has a bit more time, in their day. But think about it. Really think about trying to isolate those things as best you can to kind of create that perfect writing day. And so with that, I'll sign off here. But this for me, again, was just a day where I happened to get my writing in whenever I could. And yes, very, very few variables were isolated. Overall, the writing was not bad. It wasn't great, wasn't bad. It's been pretty much how it's been the past several days. So with that, I'll sign off here, and I will see you all tomorrow.